Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 14th episode of the Ruthless Dog and Pony Show. My name is Julio. I am the dream alchemist at Ruthless Painters. I am going to be the host of this presentation. And it's going to be a special presentation, I think. So before that, we just want to say that the Ruthless Dog and Pony Show, it's a live, completely unedited, sometimes unscripted, most of the time, presentation featuring the stylistic and the conceptual inspiration behind our painting webinars. And so what we do is we introduce the theme of the new painting collection. We do one painting collection a week. And we talk about the inspiration. We bring up art history notes, contemporary art references, and we also add a bit of commentary. And so you can find the episodes here on Instagram, but we also have our growing YouTube channel in which we feature all the episodes. So if you have any questions, you can just let us know. If you know something we don't know, we would love to build on our limited knowledge. We stand to be corrected always. And so this week, we're just going to keep it very simple. We are going to do portraits of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So that's that's essentially the episode. But I just wanted to get this out of the way because we wanted to talk about painting and why painting is so important right now, and why we think that not only we should do portraits of Ruth Bader Ginsburg for many reasons, but also how is painting helpful during this time, and how should we see it? So I have different notes here. I just wanted to I sent an email yesterday, and I tried to articulate the reasons why we not only shouldn't stop painting, but we should paint even more. So the first thing that we want to say is that we don't want to be accused of what's called toxic positivity, which is a term used when someone essentially denies the reality of other people and proclaims that happiness is a choice, and if you don't choose happiness, then it's your fault to feel miserable. So it's so easy now to just deny the reality that we live in and then just bring up quotes and just encouragement or message of encouragement. You may be accused of being tone deaf easily, or also to be oblivious of what's going on. So we don't want to be accused of that, because we are perfectly aware of the horrible time we are collectively going through right now. And we know that when we paint, or while we paint, there are people that have lost their jobs, their livelihoods, their homes. They have lost family members that they were not expecting to lose. They have been sick. They have lost their own life. We also know that the devastating effects of climate change are unfolding rapidly before our own eyes and in an exponential way. It's really scary. In addition to that, we are aware that racial injustice, it's not only bad, but it's being met with what we call judicial tyranny. And of course, in addition to that already full, miserable, chaotic, and grotesque plate, we are very aware that democracy, as many people say, is hanging by a thread. But if you ask us, it's already in free fall. So why do we feel? What's the point of painting, and why should we do it? So we know that being engaged in a creative process, it's an opportunity and also a great path towards becoming better versions of ourselves. So painting upholds the positive in us. It's a way to not lose sight of what's valuable. So it also urges us to recognize whatever's nice and beautiful around us. Not everything is completely terrible. So, being involved in a creative process, it's an important way to balance everything. Yes, there's a lot that it's unbelievably horrendous and bad, and we may be even going through some of it. But creating is a way of holding place within the positive, which I think it's important. The more we feel we're losing our balance in that sense. So also it holds our self-worth in balance. It's easy to doubt ourselves when we are going through something that is unexpected. So self-worth is something that we lose first. We think that because we're powerless, we're not deserving of anything. So I think being involved with the creative process, of course we're biased towards painting, but anything creative, it's a good thing in order to keep that self-worth also in balance. So it enables us to bask in our own vulnerability without shame or guilt. Sometimes we hear about embrace being vulnerable. So we go a little bit beyond that. It's not only necessary, but we can do that when we paint or we create in a way that doesn't feel we should be ashamed of or guilty of. There's always a sense of creating or painting from a place of privilege. So we acknowledge that that's the case, but at the same time, we also have to make sure that we don't allow this thought to make us feel we should be ashamed or guilty of that. So, and the reason being is that we can use that vulnerability and that privilege, as grounds for expressing ourselves. So I think that's also very, very important, and the reason why painting is such a gift. Ultimately, painting or creating shows us that all we need right now in these moments where we feel like we're losing everything, it's already in our hands. So we don't have to reach out or wait or expect that something's going to change in the future. We can just feel like what we need right now, it's already here. So, and how do we know that? We know that because not only we experience it through creating, but part of our job as painters is to look back on whoever came before us. And we always do our work in researching painters that have created and painted through incredible tragic moments. So we point out 3 examples in our email yesterday. Felix Newsbomb was a painter in Europe during the Second World War. He was persecuted because of his religion. Jewish, sorry, just people keep calling. So, so anyhow, so he was arrested, he escaped, he eventually was murdered during his capture, or I don't know. So he was murdered, but he did paint throughout his entire career. So when we see the paintings right now, we feel it was worth it, and we feel a human connection with that experience. So that inspires us. Another example that feels very common: Frida Kahlo painted through her illness. She was completely paralyzed and in severe pain, and yet she still continued to paint in those moments. And Egon Schiele, another European painter who served in the military in World War One, and he continued to paint as he was in the military. And he died from the 1918 influenza. His wife died days earlier, and he painted until the end. So why do we look at these artists? I feel like, it's important for us to understand why artists have turned to art in the face of such adversity. And the reason is because art holds us together, and it keeps the flame of our humanity from shutting down. So I think we just wanted to kind of like bring that up, because the more or the worse things look, sometimes taking refuge in the creative process allows us to move forward and not only survive or exist, but to create something beautiful out of the experience. And in that sense, really briefly, I just want to touch up on reasons why we feel this way, and also other reasons why art is so important right now. We rely in habit and routine to go through things in life. It almost feels like an unconscious way that allows us to think freely. I'm going to put an example. We wake up, we eat, we follow routines throughout the day. So there's something that happens through the day that we don't think about. It just happens. We all have our different routines, but routine or habit, it's something that allows us to our thought process to take off and create without even making something with our hands. So what happens when routine gets completely upside down, which is what is happening right now. So when we know what to expect about our day, our week, our month, our year, we don't have to spend time thinking how to deal with it. Our expectations are met. So we know we're going to wake up tomorrow in the morning, and we're probably going to go through some kind of like the morning routine. Well, as we all know, routine has been turned upside down. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And we don't know how much worse it's going to get. And if we look at the news, which we think we should be aware of what's going on, it just seems that not only expectations will not be met, but the worst possible outcome will have to be regarded. So that's exhausting, and it takes a lot of energy out of us, because our focus is shifted from thinking about ideas and new things into coping with expectations that will not be met. And so why is art important right now? Because art has the capability to grab our attention and focus our attention on things that are that we take for granted, that are simple things. Someone's face, the moon, a landscape, a still life, all those mundane objects, situations, and things that now we don't have time to think about. Well, when we use a creative process to focus on those simple things, we shift away from coping into observing and enjoying. So I think art gives us pleasure, and because we are going through so much, we need each and every one of those moments to go through or to cope. I mentioned it before. Art is an antidote for chaos. In that sense, it honors the value of ordinary life, and it seems so far away to think that we had an ordinary life before all this has happened. So when we paint, when we look at art, when we study artists, we give ourselves an opportunity and permission to honor that routine or ordinary life. So anyhow, so I think that's all I wanted to say. There's so much more. I just feel like, when we our expectations on a daily routine are not met, it's easy for us to lose sight of positive outcomes. We get our attention shifts to negative elements. Rightfully so. Again, there's a fine line between toxic positivity and being able to refocus on things that are also essential, not just coping with existential threats, which we are right now. We live in unprecedented times, and we advocate you paint with us, not just because we don't want to deny anyone's suffering. We know we come from a place of privilege, but at the same time, I think it's important to regain and refocus our attention on the small things, the ordinary stuff around us. So anyhow, so I hope you enjoyed the presentation. The webinar is tomorrow. Again, we're going to do our own versions of let me see if I can bring her portrait. One of the painting portraits. Right here. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Okay, so number one, the best thing we can think of to honor her life and career and how much her decisions and writings have impacted our everyday life is to do our own portrait of her. But also we want to start by just calling her by her name, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So that's for us step one. And step two is to just read about some of the things that she did for equality, and also so just as a way to honor her legacy, I would say. So a portrait is number one. Of course, this is an incredible portrait. I forgot the name of the artist, but it's at the National Portrait Gallery. And we're going to do our own version. We're just going to pick images from different periods of her life, and we'll just do our own not interpretation, because we're going to paint off of a photograph, but our own version, which I think it's important to address how we feel about what she did, give ourselves an opportunity to study how the decisions she took and the fights she was involved with changed the course of our lives. And again, in small ways. So there's something to be said about refocusing on the small ways that she, in her career and her life, impacted ours. We had many conversations already about this. We feel like when an iconic figure passes away, sometimes other people hijack the narrative of that person's life, and then they make it their own narrative. Very important to us is to point out that she was Jewish. She was a secular Jewish person, and I just think that that's a little bit taken away of the conversation right now, and I think it's important to just bring it up. There's some experiences of her life growing up that involved being part of the religious experience of being a Jewish person, in which she was not welcome as a woman, and how she detested that, and how she thought that was truly unfair. So we're not going to make a bridge between beliefs and also what her life was about, but we always wonder, and we will continue to wonder, how much of those experiences when she was younger affected her character. So anyhow, just pointing that out. And also, yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. Join us tomorrow. You don't have to be a painter to join us. You can draw with us, you can sketch, any level is welcome. What we do is we go over the stages of the session, and at the same time we study things about the subject. In this case, it would be her life. So it's a combination of painting and also learning. It's $20. You can register online. We have a calendar on our website. You can access the calendar through our new link in bio, where very conveniently you will be able to go to the page, sign up, join us. The webinar will be up in our website if you want to do it later as well. You don't have to join live. Some people prefer to register and then do the webinar on their own. There are a lot of bonuses that we provide when you register with us. We do personalized feedback. We have a shared photo folder where we upload progress. We do group critique, which is very helpful not only for your own work, but for everyone else participating. You don't have to present anything. We are very sensitive to stage fright or the fear of performance with this digital platform. So we take care of everything. And we are not asking anyone to prove anything. So yeah, join us. We've done so many, and it's so positive, beneficial. And before I conclude this, again, painting or being involved in any creative process, it's more important now than ever. We are advocating for using a creative platform to not lose sight of the goodness that we are able to enjoy right now. This is not about canceling out someone else's experience. We are perfectly aware of what's going on right now. We know that we are in a place of privilege in many ways, but at the same time, we don't want to get caught up in that thought and start or feel guilty or ashamed of using that as a way of expressing ourselves. We stand on the shoulders of a lot of painters before us that have used the creative process to go through incredible odds. I mean, compared to what we're going through right now, it's nothing, or we're going through nothing essentially. So hold on, we're here for you. Hold on, we're here for you. Join us. We can paint together. Let's regain some balance in our self-worth. What we're doing is good and positive, and it's affecting positively not only our own present time, but other people around us. So that's what we're all about. So thank you again, and we'll see you tomorrow if you're joining us. And we're very excited that after 7 months, our very dear friends, the Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, have allowed us to have a small group of people in their gorgeous 300-acre park to paint outdoors. We feel very privileged. One of the reasons or the benefits or the rewards of being involved with Roofless Painters is the fact that we've been able to connect with people, what we call the roofless movers and shakers in the city. So some people that may not be holding places of power, financial power, but they certainly hold the strings of power in ordinary ways. And one of those people, is the director of the Forest Lawn Museum, and he was very kind to allow us to go paint there. So register online. We provide everything for you. And if you don't want to register online, but you still want to stop by and say hello, so you can do so. Wear a mask, and we expect you to be at least 6 feet apart from us. But it's a beautiful space. No one's there. There's no traffic. There's no group of people. No one will be bothering us. So it's the perfect outdoor studio. And we would love it if you would just either register and join us, or just like stop by and wave to us. So yeah, we're excited. Thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, and next week as well. So bye everyone.